Veng, Kern and Brennan in semi-2. So 2 Swedes, 2 Americans, a Norwegian and Lara Gimler of Germany. So Tiril Udnes Veng is through, Lotte Udnes Veng is out. But now we switch our attention to the men's race and we go back to the same stage. 5 heats in the first round. And this is going to be an interesting one, Mike, purely because we want to see what Klæbo is going to do up against Erik Valnes, who was the quickest of the qualifiers.
It's going to be interesting, Patrick. They'll both be wanting, these 2 great athletes, they'll both be wanting to try and conserve some energy, but they have to, fight for their patch because it's going to be a frantic 6 athletes in total, and those who are less well ranked, Ludic, one of them, Ludic Seller, they'll really be trying to set a firm pace early on.
So from the women's race, how many of the favourites sat back at the back of the group and then came forward later on?
Yes, not many.
A big fat 0.
Yeah.
No one risked it. The question is, will Klæbo do that?
Possibly.
So first heat of the men's
first full start.
Yeah, that was a bad start though. There was lots of movement in the line. I don't know whether it was Klæbo who actually broke the wand. He was last away. Well, we get to see the replay of this.
And that's risky when you break free because you don't get a second chance, so you're going to hold back all the way through to the finals.
Who's guilty? Who's guilty?
I think it was Seller.
On the near side?
I think it was, I think it was Seller.
I think Ludic Seller just next door to Klæbo, and I think his movement got the Olympic and world champion a little bit twitchy. I don't think we'll see the same mistake again. So wands just need replacing.
We normally see the big yellow marker or card.
We'll try again. So we're underway. Let's just go through the lineup again. For Sweden in the white, that's Edvin Anger wearing bib number 18. Next door to him, we've got Erik Valnes and then Johannes Høsflot Klæbo of Norway, with Valnes leading at the moment. Ludic Seller of the Czech Republic, again in the red suit. He's sitting in second place, or alongside Anger at the moment. And then Ahonen of Finland, just on the right-hand side of your picture at the back. And we've got Graham Ritchie of Canada.
Yes, Graham Ritchie, bib 28 there at the back. He didn't want to get involved too early on. We saw him holding back a little, and I think he's playing a safe game at the moment. There's a lot of risk today with these soft conditions. We've seen that already in the women's 5 heats. How many? 3, 4 falls in all. And you have to be careful. You have to be aware of what's happening around you.
Well, this pace is fairly conservative at the moment. Up they come to the climb. We'll get a split as they go through the little pine needles. 1:13 on the clock, and we'll compare that to the rest of the heat still to come. No panic from Klæbo. The 3 favourites are up there. Edvin Anger, Mike, 18th in qualifying. I am pretty sure that he was just cruising. I think he could have done that with one of his arms.
It seemed that way, didn't it? And he's been brave here. He's not intimidated at all with Valnes and Klæbo alongside him. And this is where
slip from Klæbo. Valnes on the inside. Anger goes down, and he's taken Ludic with him. He's got in the way of Graham Ritchie, and that is Anger's chance gone. That is always the danger, being on the inside of the turn, Mike. You get squashed down. Now there will be a look. He's got himself a spare pole, but it's too late. Anger is out. God, how disappointing is that for a man who has shown such good form all the way through the season? Sixth in the World Cup standings, and his World Championships comes to an end in the very first round of the sprint.
But it's like a Christmas present here, a late one, for these two at the front. When they realise there's nobody around them, they can back off their pace and recover for the semi-final. I thought Seller was really, Seller, he was brought down as well when Anger went down, and that's a real shame. I thought he looked great today.
Yeah, and it's given an easy ticket to Klæbo and Valnes, who are probably discussing what they're going to have for dinner as they come down the finish.
What shall we do later?
Very easy. And one of the advantages of the big championships, Mike, is there are screens everywhere. They'll keep looking over the shoulder just to make sure. And
come on.
This is going to be close. Well, there's a man who knows how to cut it fine. Had Klæbo lost out on that occasion, he would never, ever, ever have been forgiven in Norway. Look how close it is. He drifts it down to 0.1 of a second. Arhonen, if he'd just been that little bit quieter and maybe drifted over to the other side so he wasn't seen when Klæbo looked over his right shoulder, then it could have been a different story. But you know, that's not the sort of behaviour that the coach enjoys. Let's see where it went wrong for Anger. Well, he was actually on the outside of the turn, and that left ski just slipped, Mike, through the soft stuff onto the salted snow underneath, and he slipped on the ice. Not his fault, no one's fault.
He did, but in the process, he released Seller's binding, and yes, you're disappointed, but think how Seller must feel as well, being brought down by somebody else.
Yeah, well, you should never be on the outside of someone who's about 6'6". There's always a chance that a limb will get in the way.
And
so, Norway survived. Valnes and Klæbo are through. 2:59.3 is the winning time. Nowhere near as fast as we saw in qualification. Arhonen, I suppose lucky loser slot is possible, but unlikely.